Founded over 30 years ago, Gillespie Group is a full-service residential and commercial real estate firm based in Lansing, Michigan. With an eye to the future, Gillespie Group is fueled by strategic development with a passion to find creative solutions for real estate development needs. Known for the ability to visualize new energetic spaces that breathe life into spaces and community, Gillespie continues to use its resources to initiate the transformation within the communities it works in. Learn more at gillespie-group.com. Welcome to another installation of Conversations from Mackinac, the series from Michigan Reimagines podcast with Chris Buck. Special session is sponsored by generously by Tri-Terra and the Gillespie Group. I'm your host, Chris Buck, and I'm here now with the Executive Director of the Rental Property Owners Association, Erika Farley. Thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you, Chris, for having me.
Absolutely. So talk to me about your association. What exactly is your mission? Who do you serve?
The Rental Property Owners Association of Michigan really is the broad umbrella of serving rental property owners and real estate investors throughout the state of Michigan, from the UP all the way down to the Indiana-Ohio line. And we do advocacy for them and represent them in our larger municipalities, and of course in Lansing doing lobbying and all those good things. And then the other two legs of our stool are education and networking. So we are trying to do our best to serve our members and professionalize the industry.
So as an association, I was just saying, I assume that you're a membership-driven organization. So
yes,
people
sir.
are members, they pay dues, they then get access to your services and publications. I would imagine you deliver intellectual property.
We provide all kinds of forms and a attorney written lease for our members, but we serve membership from the small who needs that lease to the big, and have several properties and a huge portfolio, and they're really looking especially for that advocacy. We have an annual conference that we just had 2.5 days. We just had that in April in Grand Rapids and talked about AI and brought in a Google exec as our keynote, and really about educating for all levels of investment.
That makes a ton of sense, because it's got to be a fine balance between safety of the tenants and inspections and making sure that these properties are up to snuff. But then there's obviously the overregulation possibilities and duplicative efforts and fees that maybe are unreasonable. So you must really kind of walk the line on balancing, making sure that your members are getting the bang for the bucks that they're paying.
Without question, and we want to make sure that our members have that education to know that they are complying with fair housing and with state and federal regulations and all those good things. But we also want to make sure that there isn't a barrier to entry in the industry. Without the industry, there are no rental properties, and so many people in this day and age are renting, especially because the high cost of trying to buy a home or build a home. And so we're really trying to make sure that we aren't freezing younger people and newer people out of the industry, and we're providing that support to them so we can provide more housing to the people of the state of Michigan.
So with that said, is there anything that you're specifically advocating for here at the conference this week, or are there topics that you're paying keen attention to? I
think the major topic that we are looking at is there's a package in Lansing that is being driven by Representative Christian Grant out of Grand Rapids, but also supported by Speaker Hall and Governor Whitmer, regarding rezoning and dealing with municipalities who specifically have not taken on rezoning in Michigan and updating what needs to be done to make sure that we are providing more housing, different types of housing, both in townships and in large municipalities. So there's this large package that we are continuing to work on with our housing coalition partners.
So now, is that intended to kind of override local municipalities?
No, we are not trying to override local municipalities. We are trying to work with our municipalities and make sure that we are giving those who may have some roadblocks with their planning commissions or other things the ability to make those changes for smaller lot sizes and less parking requirements, density, and ADUs and all kinds of different things. Yep.
That's great. I sat in on the session yesterday with Director Hovey.
Me too,
and Senator Slotkin, and talking about we have to get these municipalities to have a housing plan.
Without question.
There isn't a housing plan, so it sounds like this is a little bit of a kickstart and
definitely. This is definitely an encouragement for those locals who maybe haven't been able to take those steps yet, and are really looking for our community members, not just members of the Rental Property Owners Association of Michigan, but also the citizens of Michigan, to really contact their local state representatives and state senators talking about being able to create more housing. I have children who are 21 years old, and I want to make sure that once they graduate from college in a year or so, that they are actually able to find that housing where they want to go, and they actually can get a job and be more productive members of society.
Right. Headquartered in Lansing, Triterra has been creating healthier communities throughout Michigan since 2008. Their expertise in brownfield development, environmental consulting, and natural resource management needs provides practical solutions for developers, property owners, and governmental entities. For responsive service tailored to your best interests, call the Triterra team at 517-702-0470 or visit triterra.us. Why do you, this is a little off topic maybe, but ADUs, you mentioned accessory dwelling units.
Yes, sir.
And I find that for some reason municipalities are hesitant on just opening the door to just say, build them. Why? I mean, the land already exists. Go ahead and, I mean, if you can get, I mean, I've been in other municipalities out of state where there are incentives to homeowners to build ADUs. Not even to developers, but to homeowners to hire contractors to build ADUs.
This is a great thing. So I think a couple things. One, I think that Michigan needs, in our local municipalities and the state is looking that we're trying to get out of this post-World War II housing of what those lot sizes are and what does that look like. So we need to create those, you know, the ADUs and the tiny homes potentially on these larger lots.
Yep.
So I think that there's a mindset shift that we need to have without question. I think that's been difficult for people, and bringing in new people into communities where they may be uncomfortable. I have a personal story of that. My sister and her husband wanted to build an ADU on 2 acres on a large suburban lot for my dad, and the township told them no. So they ended up building an addition, which became his in-law suite. They had to find a workaround on that, but to me this was more tax revenue for the township. Why are we fighting it? But I think it's a mindset issue of what does that look like that we're not in the 1950s, 1960s America, and that we have to look at different housing.
Agreed. And that's one of the dynamics that we also have an aging population in Michigan.
Yes, sir.
We're having trouble retaining the younger people, partially because there's no housing for them. And other people are just being more bullish on finding a great spot for them to land financially and for housing purposes. So
For sure.
Now you have kind of the NIMBYs and the people that have the time to pay attention to advocate against change.
Yes.
Fighting against our need to change.
Yes.
And that we're not building these for a lot of that audience. We're building it for the next generation and the saving our state and trying to drive inbound population growth. It's confounding to me because I worked in local municipality economic development, and so I fought this on mic, and town hall meetings and public hearings and things of that nature, trying to get ordinance changes. But it's a puzzle that really needs to be worked out. So I'm really grateful that an organization like yours is spearheading some of this stuff and helping shepherd some of these new regulations along.
That's the mission of the conference that we are at right now, and we're trying to push Michigan forward and grow our population and give more options. And housing isn't an option. Housing isn't an option, food isn't an option, clean water isn't an option. These are things that I talk about housing being a circle, and we need to make sure that that circle isn't broken. So we all work together to make sure that we're supporting housing, that we're building housing, we're allowing for those renovations, and we're allowing for different types of housing. And we're really working at that at the RPOAN.
So if any of our listeners are thinking about getting into investment properties, does your association help? We
do.
You have content that can say, here are some corners to look around before you jump in?
Yes, we have everything from the 100 level classes of how that works. We offer a lot of education for our members up to the 400 level, and a mastermind class or mastermind group for people with millions of dollars investment. But if you're starting to look, so I'm going to tell the website. So rpoaonline.org. Everything is there. The barrier to entry and membership is very low. in our opinion. And we have a lot of resources, especially for those who want to get into the industry, and we'll get you started. And we have mentor programs and all the resources.
So RPOA, so you have chapters around the state, is
Yes,
that right?
sir.
Okay, got it. So, because I'm familiar with RPOA-MM from Mid-Michigan, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
yep,
I'm
that's
in
out of
East
Lansing.
Yeah, okay.
And we have groups out of Flint, and we all over the state, Traverse City and Grand Rapids and Muskegon, and we are really working, building up not just a Wayne County group that we already have, but specific to the city of Detroit, because Detroit, of course, their population has been moving up a little bit, and so the need for rental properties in the city of Detroit and more people moving there for homes. So we are working with that association and building it up, but we have it all over the state of Michigan, and those are our affiliate groups, and we support and work with them. So yeah, for sure.
And you're the executive director of the
I'm the
parent
executive for the
That's
whole
awesome.
kit and caboodle.
And it's also, I think it's fantastic and needed to have all of these different districts, because housing needs are very different between UP and Detroit and Kalamazoo and Lansing. And
I think that there is a
America.
misnomer that rental housing is an urban issue. And
Right.
it is not just an urban issue, it is a suburban and a rural issue. And if you look at the population map for the state of Michigan, the majority of our population, that urban area is down in that southeast corridor and over by Grand Rapids and Lansing. But if you look at the majority of Michigan, it is suburban and it is rural, and people live there, and we still need to talk about what housing looks like in those parts of the state. I am from Saginaw originally, and a very suburban area that's surrounded by a rural area, and housing is still an issue there. It's an issue in the UP.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right. Because most of these towns have like Charlotte or St. John's or,
Yes.
or Durand or they all have little downtowns that could go
Yes,
up.
sir.
They could have 4 stories and 50 units of apartments on their main drag to help, and that also gives you density to help shop at the different stores that are maybe struggling on the main drag and just
I
create
live right in the
population
heart of
growth.
that right now in
Yeah.
Livingston County. I live in Howell, and Brighton is right there,
Yeah.
and these are growing little tiny towns with beautiful downtowns, but they're really pushing in for people want to live there. So what does that housing look like? Is it multifamily? Is it the ADUs? Is it more single family homes? But not everybody can afford a $500,000 plus home, and we're
Right.
looking still for those starter homes on those smaller lots. And that leads back to that legislation that I was talking about, that we want to make sure that we can actually bring either younger people into those more starter homes, or bring our aging baby boomers into smaller houses. My dad was used to 4-bedroom large homes.
Yep.
And at some point, he did not need to live in that kind of house anymore. So we needed to be able to provide a place, a very active, healthy man, provide a place where he could be close to his grandkids and his daughters. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Anything I haven't asked you that you want our listeners to know about your organization and the services you provide?
I think that we've covered it, but that we are a broad umbrella for everybody within the real estate, investment, rental property industry, everything from those who provide insurance or contractors or in the skilled trades or people who are just starting in the industry or who have been there for a very long time. We would love to have you inquire about the RPOA and come join us.
Wonderful. RPOA.online.org. And we've been speaking to their executive director, Erika Farley, here on Michigan Reimagined, live from the beautiful Grand Hotel on sunny Mackinac Island. Really appreciate you joining me here today. It's great information.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris.
Absolutely. And thanks again to our sponsors, Triterra and the Gillespie Group. And stay tuned for our next session coming soon.